The sun was dipping below the horizon as I arrived in Marrakech, the Red City. Dust and the distant call to prayer filled the air as I navigated the labyrinthine streets, bustling with traders, tourists, and locals. My name is Alistair Saxon, a monster and demon hunter, a member of a secret organization known as the Shadows. My new mission was unique. Even for me, a Djinn was playing a dangerous game in this very city. The Shadows had learned of a Djinn preying on the innocent in Marrakech, offering twisted wishes that trapped souls in a never-ending cycle of torment. The creature had found a way to bend the ancient laws that bound its kind, exploiting loopholes that allowed it to twist the wishes of those it ensnared. Each wish granted only led to more suffering, more darkness, more enslaved souls. I was sent to unravel the Djinn's game and put an end to its wicked play. The Grand Souk was at the heart of Marrakech, and at its heart lay the Djinn's lair. But finding the creature would not be easy. It could hide in plain sight, concealed within the chaos and color of the markets. As I made my way through the winding streets, the aroma of exotic spices and the sound of haggling merchants filled the air. I had a contact, a local seer named Fatima, who claimed to have knowledge of the Djinn's tactics and a way to track it. I found her in a dimly lit shop filled with amulets, ancient texts, and the rich scent of incense. Her eyes were old and wise, carrying the weight of many secrets. "You seek to challenge the Djinn?" she said, studying me intently. I nodded. I must stop it. It's destroying lives. Fatima's gaze grew distant as she contemplated her shelves filled with mystical artifacts. The Djinn's game is ancient and cunning. It will twist your words, your thoughts, and your very soul if you are not careful. Are you prepared to face such a creature? I have no choice, I reply, determined. She handed me a talisman, its shape etched with symbols I did not recognize but felt instinctively connected to. This will protect you, but only to an extent. To defeat the Djinn, you must outwit it. And remember, it will use everything it knows about you against you. I accepted the talisman, feeling its cold weight in my palm. How do I find it? The Djinn moves through shadows and reflections. It watches from mirrors, water, and glass. Seek those who have fallen under its spell. They will lead you to it. The night was falling fast as I left Fatima's shop, the city transforming into an entirely different beast. The Djinn's victims were many, and I knew that I had to act quickly if I was to save them. But first, I needed to understand the rules of its twisted game. The Djinn was a master manipulator, a creature of deception and cunning. It would not be defeated easily. As I made my way through the now dimly lit streets, something caught my eye. A reflection in a shop window that didn't quite fit. A flicker of movement, a shadow that was not my own. The Djinn was watching me, already sizing me up, readying its game. I could feel the weight of its gaze, the malevolence in its eyes, the cold calculation of a predator sizing up its prey. But I also felt a thrill of anticipation. The game was on, and the stakes were higher than ever. The Djinn's game had begun, and I knew that every move I made, every step I took, was now part of a deadly dance. A dance that could lead to salvation or damnation. The choice was mine, and the game was only just beginning. As I prepared to dive deeper into the labyrinthine streets of Marrakech, the words of Fatima echoed in my mind. It will twist your words, your thoughts, and your very soul if you are not careful. I was about to embark on a journey into the unknown, facing a creature like no other. And in this game, losing was not an option. I moved through the night, following the clues Fatima had given me, always aware of the shifting reflections and shadows. The Djinn's presence lingered, a subtle whisper in the back of my mind, a constant reminder that I was being watched, evaluated, tested. My first encounter with one of the Djinn's victims was in a hidden corner of the market. A young man, his eyes vacant, his face pale and drawn, endlessly mumbling a single phrase. I wished to be rich. I wished to be rich. The wish had been granted, but not as he'd intended. Gold coins had fused to his flesh, rendering him immobile and in constant agony. The Djinn's twisted sense of humor was evident in his suffering. I knew I couldn't save him without understanding the exact rules of the Djinn's game. So I pressed on, following a trail of broken lives, each one a cautionary tale of desire and greed twisted into nightmares. The deeper I delved into the web of wishes and consequences, the more I realized that the Djinn was not only toying with individuals, but weaving a complex tapestry of interconnected fates. Each wish affected another. Each consequence rippled through the city, creating a network of misery and chaos. Days turned into nights as I worked tirelessly to unravel the Djinn's machinations, always feeling its unseen eyes upon me. I discovered patterns, rules, and loopholes, but each revelation was a double-edged sword. The Djinn was learning from me as well, adapting its game, refining its tactics. The dance was becoming more intricate, more dangerous. It was in a hidden chamber beneath a mosque that I finally encountered the Djinn face to face. I had followed the threads of its game to a room filled with mirrors, each one reflecting a different facet of reality, a different outcome of the wishes it had granted. In the center of the room stood the Djinn, a creature of smoke and shadow, its eyes burning like embers. It regarded me with a twisted smile, its voice a whisper of wind and flame. "Welcome, Alistair Saxon. I have been expecting you." I gripped the talisman tightly, feeling its protective power. "Your game ends here, Djinn." The creature laughed, a sound like crackling fire. "The game is never over, Hunter. It merely changes. But I am curious. What do you wish for?" "I wish for nothing from you," I snapped, knowing the danger in its words. "Ah, but everyone wishes for something," the Djinn purred. "Even you, especially you." I could feel it probing my thoughts, my desires seeking a weakness. But I had come prepared, armed with knowledge and determination. I knew the rules now, and I knew how to play. "We shall see," I said coldly, meeting its gaze. "Let's play." The Djinn's smile widened, and the room shifted. The mirrors spun, and the floor seemed to drop away. I was suddenly in a maze of reflections, a labyrinth of choices and consequences. The game had truly begun, and I was now playing for the very soul of Marrakech and for the lives entangled in the Djinn's web. It was a battle of wits and wills, a contest of mind and spirit, and the stakes were higher than ever. As I navigated the twisted maze, facing riddles, illusions, and traps, I knew that the Djinn was watching, learning, adapting. It was a formidable opponent, one that had played this game for millennia. But I was determined to win, to outwit the creature, to break its hold on the city. The maze was a dark, shifting labyrinth, every corner filled with magic and danger. The walls were lined with mirrors reflecting various realities and potential outcomes. The ground shifted beneath my feet, and the air was thick with a suffocating fog of uncertainty. Shadows danced, hiding both truths and lies, and the Djinn's whispering voice echoed through the corridors, taunting and challenging me. One of the first riddles I encountered was a room filled with doors, each one bearing an inscription. A voice echoed through the chamber, posing a question: what opens with a word yet locks with silence? I studied the inscriptions, quickly realizing that the answer lay in the riddles themselves. The key was a spoken word, and the word was mouth. Speaking it aloud, one door creaked open, allowing me to proceed. Further into the maze, I stumbled upon a room filled with sand, where an intricate puzzle awaited. A miniature cityscape was carved into the floor, a representation of Marrakech with movable parts and hidden levers. I had to rearrange the pieces to match the current state of the city, reflecting the consequences of the Djinn's twisted game. It was a test of memory and observation, and it took me hours of careful manipulation to align the pieces correctly, unlocking the door to the next chamber. In this chamber, shelves filled with ancient whispering books surrounded me. The books contained the secrets and regrets of those who'd been ensnared by the Djinn, the details to the Djinn's interference with the realm of mortals. To proceed, I had to listen to the whispers, empathize with the souls trapped within, and identify the one soul whose story that led to the key. Time itself seemed to be trapped in the next room, with countless clocks ticking in unison. The challenge was a puzzle that required me to use what I learned in the previous chamber to set the clocks to significant moments in history where the Djinn had interfered. The synchronization of the times would open the next passage. The deeper I ventured, the more complex and treacherous the challenges became. The Djinn's game was a reflection of human nature itself, a maze of ambition, greed, fear, love, and loss. It was a game of life and death, a test of character and resolve. I could feel the Djinn's frustration growing as I advanced, solving its puzzles, overcoming its challenges. But I also knew that it was far from defeated, that it had more tricks up its sleeve, more surprises in store. I knew that the final confrontation was drawing near. The maze was beginning to unravel, the illusions fading. The Djinn's voice grew more insistent, more desperate, and I felt a growing sense of anticipation. The game was reaching its climax, and I was ready to face the Djinn, to confront it on its own terms, to break its hold on the city and the souls ensnared in its web. With a new resolve, I pressed forward through the maze, my every step observed by the cunning Djinn. The game had reached its apex, and I sensed that the final confrontation was near. I had unraveled riddles and faced illusions, but I knew that the real challenge lay in understanding the very nature of the Djinn itself. Finally, I arrived at the heart of the maze. The room was opulent and adorned with treasures from across time, all glistening with a sinister light. At the room's center stood a pedestal, and atop it floated an ornate lamp, the Djinn's prison, emanating an unsettling energy. The Djinn's laughter echoed around me as it materialized, a being of smoke and fire with eyes that held the wisdom and wickedness of ages. It spoke in riddles and verse, promising power, wealth, and all the desires of my heart if only I would bow to its will. But I had seen through the game. I had walked the maze and understood its lessons. I knew that the Djinn's power was both a gift and a curse, a temptation that had led countless souls to ruin. I stood firm, my voice clear and determined. Djinn, I have played your game, and now I demand my wish as the victor. The Djinn's eyes narrowed, its smile turning into a scowl. Very well, it hissed. Name your desire, but choose wisely, for wishes can be a treacherous thing. I began, my voice steady. every word chosen with the utmost care. I wish for you, Djinn, to be bound eternally to your lamp, unable to grant wishes, manipulate desires, or prey on the souls of the innocent. Let this binding be unbreakable, immune to all forms of magic and subversion, sealing you within your prison with no means to escape or exert influence upon the world. May you remain confined and powerless, a spectator to the passage of time, forever denied the game you so relish. The Djinn roared with fury, its form twisting and contorting. It tried to twist my words, to find a loophole, but I had crafted my wish with precision. The very power it wielded was now its undoing. The room trembled as the Djinn fought against the pull of the lamp, its form disintegrating into smoke and fire. The treasures around the room lost their glow, becoming mere trinkets as the Djinn's influence waned. With one final, anguished cry, the Djinn was sucked into the lamp, its prison sealed once more. The room fell into silence, the oppressive air lifting as the maze itself seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. I picked up the lamp, feeling its weight, knowing that I had vanquished a being that had played with human desires for centuries. The victory was not just mine, but a triumph for all those who had been ensnared by the Djinn's game. I returned to the shadows, the lamp secured, and the city of Marrakech safe once more. But the experience stayed with me, a haunting reminder of the fine line between desire and destruction, a lesson learned in the twisted game of a Djinn. The Djinn's game was over, and I, Alistair Saxon, had won. But the path of a monster and demon hunter is never-ending, and new adventures awaited. Mysteries to unravel, and darkness to banish. The shadows would call again, and I would answer, ready to face whatever lay ahead.